Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayora Madhava Kunjabiyari Jayora Madhava Kunjabiyari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Nrsimha-de, Jaya Nrsimha-de, Jaya Nrsimha-de, Jaya Nrsimha-de. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitya Gaura Premanande Hari Bol. Okay, we sing together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasa tato jayo dhiraye. Nasta prayesva bhatreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloki bhaktir bhavati nashtuki. Shimbatasvakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Hridyantastu Yabhatrani Vidunoti Suritsadam. Jai. I feel so blessed to be with you all, and today we're reading from okay. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We are fourth canto, yes. And we have text 25. Which verse is on the board? 25?
15, 25
Okay.
to 16.
Yeah, 25.
15, 25 to 16, maybe good.
Yeah. Till the next one, yeah. Okay. This is the other meter. Because I was reading the okay. 25. Okay, now I get it. Prabhavo yatmana stotram Jagupsantyapyavishtrutha Hrimanta paramodhara Purusham vavigarhitam Prabhavo yatmana stotram Yugupsantyapi vishruta Hrimanta paramodhara Paurusham vavigarhitam Prabhavo yatmana stotram Jugupsantyapi vishruta Hrimanta paramodhara Purusham vavigarhitam. Please. Prabhavo yatmana stotram Jugupsantyapi vishruta Hrimanta paramodhara Avigaritam Prabhavo yatmana stotram Jugupsantyapi vishruta Hrimanta paramodhara Paurusham vavigaritam. Would you like to? No? Okay. But it's okay, you can try. Prabhavo yatmana stotram Jugupsantyapi vishruta Hrimanta paramodhara Purusham vavigaritam. Nice, thank you. Very nice. Vaishnavis? Prabhavo yatmana stotram Jugupsantyapi vishruta Hrimanta paramodhara Purusham vavigaritam Prabhavo yatmana stotram Jugupsantyapi vishruta Hrimanta paramodhara Purusham vavigaritam. Prabhavo yatmana stotram Jugupsantyapi vishrutaham Hrimanta paramodhara Purusham vavigaritam. Prabhavo yatmana stotram Jugupsantyapi vishrutaham Hrimanta paramodhara Purusham vavigaritam. Prabhava, very powerful person. He, certainly. Atmana, of themselves. Stotram, praise. Jugupsanti, do not like. Api, although. Vishruta, very famous. Hrimanta, modest. Parama Udara, very magnanimous person. Purusham, powerful actions. Va, also. Vigarhitam, abominable. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As a person with a sense of honor and magnanimity does not like to hear about his abominable actions, a person who is very famous and powerful does not like to hear himself praised. I will read also text 26 and text 1. Vayam tva vidita loke sutadyapi varimabi karmabi katamatmanam gapayisyama balavat. King Prithu continued, my dear devotees, headed by the sutta, just now I am not very famous for my personal activities because I have not done anything praiseworthy you could glorify. Therefore, how could I engage you in praising my activities exactly like children? And text 1. Maitreya uvacha iti bruvanam nripatim gaya kamuni chodita tustustamanasas tadvagamrita sevaya. The great sage Maitreya continued, while King Prithu thus spoke, the humility of his nectarian speeches pleased the reciters very much. Then again, they continued to praise the king highly with exalted prayers, as they had been instructed by the great sages. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here the word Muni Chodita indicates instructions received from great sages and saintly persons. Although Maharaj Prithu was simply enthroned on the royal seat and was not at that time exhibiting his godly powers, the reciters like the Sutta, the Magadha, and the Vandi understood that King Prithu was an incarnation of God. They could understand this by the instructions given by the great sages and learned brahmanas. We have to understand the incarnations of God by the instructions of authorized persons. We cannot manufacture a God by our own concoctions. As stated by Narottam Das Thakur, Sadhu Shastra Guru, one has to test all spiritual matters according to the instructions of saintly persons, scriptures, and the spiritual master. The spiritual master is one who follows the instructions of his predecessors, namely the sadhus or saintly persons. A bona fide spiritual master does not mention anything not mentioned in authorized scriptures. Ordinary people have to follow the instructions of Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. Those statements made in the Shastra and those made in the bona fide Sadhu or Guru cannot differ from one another. Reciters like the Sutta and the Magadha were confidentially aware that King Prithu was an incarnation of the personality of Godhead. Although the king denied such praise because he was not at that time exhibiting his godly qualities, the reciters did not stop praising him. Rather, they were very, very pleased with the king, who, although actually an incarnation of God, was so humble and delightful in his dealings with devotees. In this connection, we may note that previously, in chapter 15, verse 21, it was mentioned that King Prithu was smiling and was in a pleasant mood while speaking to the reciters. Thus, we have to learn from the Lord or his incarnations how to become gentle and humble. The king's behavior was very pleasing to the reciters, and consequently, The reciters continued their praise and even foretold the king's future activities, as they had been instructed by the sadhus and sages. Homa Yajna Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jai. I feel very grateful to be with you this morning, discussing this beautiful transcendental text of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. I feel very grateful that Narasimhadev is always here with us, protecting us and guiding us. So I pray to become an instrument so that I can be of service to you all, so that we can uplift our consciousness and find deeper connection and inspiration within our heart to sincerely follow in this process of bhakti yoga. And and ultimately surrender to the lotus feet of Lord Narasimhadev. So I'm so grateful to Gopi Gita for translating. Thank you so much. I don't speak well German at all, so I feel grateful I can speak in English. So when I was reading this verse, it was very interesting because Prabhupada really mentions how the King Prithu, is very humble and in a very pleasant mood. And I think if we would hear somebody, after we praise them, if we would hear them saying, "Oh, I am very famous, but I haven't done anything yet. So why you glorify me yet if I haven't done, what you're glorifying me for?" Like I felt like it's a beautiful attitude of, sometimes devotees, they kindly encourage us, and it's not easy to kind of receive the appreciation. Most of the time I hear is like, okay, you just have to, almost as if you're not hearing. Like it's like, in order to stay humble, like when somebody praises, you try to like offer it, to the Supreme. And, but at the same time, you try to like, completely put yourself out of the way. But it's just beautiful, the ability, how it is expressed here, how such a great personality, when he's praised, is very, in a very good mood, like he's very pleased. He's very pleased of being praised. And then he says, "Why are you praising me now? You should praise me later when I actually do all these things." So it's very beautiful that this is actually humility, to be like, I appreciate your praising, but you can do it later when actually I am worthy of that praise. And it's beautiful. Vedic culture is very beautiful. The way how they express humility is very beautiful. It's there is no minimizing of the power and the qualities that, especially as an incarnation of the Lord, he appeared, and we will see he will act in very interesting ways. The Lord gets angry and he controls, and he does so many human-like things, but as we know, he's completely beyond this material nature, and it's very hard to comprehend. very hard to comprehend the actions of the Lord and how He deals with these intimate associates. At the same time, we can have some glimpse, like Prabhupada said, we should meditate on it and just take example so that we can, he also said beautifully, so that we can, we have to learn from the Lord or His incarnation how to become gentle and humble. And we can see His incarnations are not always gentle and humble. He has many pastimes of killing demons and being very violent. At the same time, He does everything with gentleness and humility because He's the Supreme. So this is something that inspired me while I was reading. It's like the inconceivable nature of the Lord, but still I can still try to apply in my own life by trying to practice these beautiful qualities. I think one of the most important elements to learn from the Bhagavad, from the scriptures, is the values, like the values through which they acted. You know, we don't want to imitate, but we want to like take the value that, you know, like being gentle, being humble, being respectful, honoring people that are praising maybe, and honoring each activity that happens by being conscious of the Lord. So it's very, very beautiful. And today, I don't know if it's actually today because I couldn't find it on internet, but I received an audio that apparently today is the appearance day or disappearance day of Srila Pundarik Vidyanidhi, appearance day of Srila Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and he was such an interesting personality because he was the spiritual master of Gadadhar Pandit. So it's interesting. I was listening the very first time how when Gadadhar Pandit went with another devotee to meet him for the first time, they heard he was such a great, elevated devotee of the Lord. So they were very, eager to meet. You know, when one hears, oh, this is a great devotee of Krishna, you know, that eagerness arose in their heart. And when they came to his home, it was very, very, very opulently decorated. There were like mirrors everywhere. There were like very expensive silk clothes and pillows everywhere. No, sometimes we know, like we hear, no, that pillow is not like is a negative connotation, like because also the name of Hiranyakashipu means soft pillows. So it's like a demoniac kind of things to have a home full of pillows and full of mirrors. And when they came inside to visit him, he was actually like laying on these pillows with a mirror, just looking at his beauty, you know. So when they came inside, they were completely shocked, especially Gadadhar Pandit. He was like, how can this be a great devotee? And this devotee that came with Gadadhar Pandit, he understood the mind of Gadadhar Pandit, and he was like, oh. So then he immediately recited a verse where he describes the form of Sri Krishna and the beauty and how Lord Sri Krishna is such a merciful, divine incarnation, divine personality of Godhead, and he is so merciful to his devotees. And as soon as he recited this verse, I keep mispronouncing his name, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he went in complete ecstasy. He started crying and he started, the hairs were standing on his arms and he started dancing. He's like, Krishna, Krishna, and he went in complete ecstasy. And then Gadadhar Pandit, he realized this is indeed a great personality. And because of making offenses, because he was judging him by his external, and he realized he's such a great personality, then he took initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and he communicated it with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased because he could see, you know, like that it was not an easy thing for Gadadhar Pandit to actually recognize, because, you know, when a person, you can also observe the life of Gadadhar Pandit, he was very renounced, and when a person lives in a very renounced way, when we see like opulence and so much power in a person, it's very easy to judge and be like, oh, this person is completely Maya, completely bewildered by material energy. But it's not the case. It's really not the case. And it's beautiful in the Bhagavatam. Many devotees of the Lord are devotees, and you know, the closest devotees of the Lord. They're very powerful personalities. Very powerful personalities. Even in our line of gurus, they were very powerful personalities, both spiritually but also materially. They were fearless in that sense. Like they really fully engaged in that space to serve and be of service to the Lord in so many ways. And yesterday I was listening. I'm reading like Bhagavad Gita every day, and yesterday I came to the point to, I think it was chapter 2, verse 56 or something, and it was beautiful because it was describing the quality of a spiritualist. And I think it's very important for us to, you know, kind of become refreshed on, you know, the qualities of a person. Like, because Arjuna asked Krishna, what are the qualities of a person that has transcendental knowledge? What are the qualities of a person that is self-realized? And Krishna replies, one who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. And and in the purport was so interesting because the word that was mentioned here, the word mentioned here is Stita Dhir Muni. And Stita Dhir Muni means a person that is always in Krishna consciousness. But, you know, we know that the word Muni is from where we got the word man. And Muni, I was very, even though I heard it before, I was very surprised to hear. Muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation and without coming to a factual conclusion. And it just feels like that's what humans are all about. We're constantly agitating our mind, thinking about different things, and we never arrive to a conclusion. So, and from this root, the word man comes from, you know, we take that, and it's fascinating. I was like, yeah, it's just the truth. Like I wouldn't, you know, go deeper and try to practice spiritual life. That's what I would do, just speculate without ever coming to a conclusion. And then he says, Stita Dhir Muni is a person that is in Krishna consciousness because he has exhausted all his business for creative speculation. So I feel like that's life. Like, you know, we try to control, even through the scriptures, even when we join Krishna consciousness and we start to go into Gyan and try to understand, it's still a very creative way of speculation, of trying to understand. But when we exhaust, you know, all means to try to understand the Lord, then we become Sita Dhir Muni, means we take shelter and we accept the truth that Krishna is in our heart, and Krishna is outside and he's everywhere. And we are one with Krishna, but at the same time we are not. So it's Achintya, Beda, abheda tattva, inconceivable to understand the nature of the Lord and His activities. But still, we try to develop knowledge, we try to understand deeply, but then we let go. You're like, how is it possible that Krishna's behavior was like this? And how is it possible that he acted like this? And how is it possible that also in another part of the Bhagavatam, I think in the 3rd canto, Vidura asked Maitreya, how is it possible that Krishna does so many things in this world and is completely aloof from them? How is it possible that he can appear in this world and be completely not influenced by it? And I was like, yeah, of course, it's God. But I was thinking about it, and it's like, imagine, as we have Krishna here, Narasimhadev here, he has a form, and it's like, how is it possible that there is a form that I can see, I can touch, I can smell, but he is not at all, he's not at all it, like he's transcendental. So whatever I'm perceiving is just through my senses, but it's not fully the reality, because unless I go on a transcendental platform. So it's quite inconceivable. It was like, yeah, like the more I try to meditate on verses, I'm like, oh, wow, I can't understand it. And the only way through which I can understand it and take shelter is through experiences in my heart. So this is ultimately my guiding light and our guiding light, because I think we are all here because we felt something in the heart at some point. We felt some confirmation in the heart. Otherwise, it's very hard. At least for me, I am not a religious person. Sometimes I wonder, how did I come into Krishna consciousness? Like, there are so many rules and regulations, and it's so, I already had a religion, and the reason why I left my own religion is because, it didn't make sense, because it's an institution, and there was so much nonsense, and then I was like, I wanted to live a spiritual life, and then I find myself living in a also an institution, and of course every institution has its good and bad, but it's like, I'm here because I felt something in my heart. I felt some reciprocation from my gurus, from my teachers, and from the holy name. I think we all had experience with the holy name, otherwise we wouldn't chant 16 rounds every day. It's like, it can be such an austerity, but if we connect to our heart and we're like, why am I chanting? And just really open the heart, it's like, yeah, there is no other mantra, there is no other way in this world to really awaken that love, or at least to have glimpses. I think at the moment, at least, my aspiration in my japa is, we had such a beautiful workshop with Gopi Gita, like all this, and it was so beautiful last week. It was about setting an intention, and I really felt my aspiration is to have a glimpse, every time I chant, just to have a glimpse of Krishna in whatever way he wants to give it to me. Like, I would really like that, and I think it's very important. Otherwise, it's very hard to be so practical externally. There must be some reciprocation every day, like just some, that we feel like we are going in the right direction, that we feel like I'm not alone, and God is real, and He actually talks to me, and He actually talks to me through the devotees. He talks to me through the service that I do by giving me some realizations in my heart. So this is where I'm coming today. To really understand that we are not munis, we are not men and women and these material connections, but we are, Sthita Dhir Muni. We don't try to speculate, but we try to be Krishna conscious. And it's beautiful how Prabhupada always calls it Krishna conscious. It doesn't say Krishna thinkers. Or, it could have used so many ways. It could explain it so many ways, but it always goes to consciousness. And even Chaitanya, no? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya means conscious. A person who is conscious. And this is what I receive from this purport today, to really take shelter of how the pastimes of the Lord, they really increase that desire of wanting to know Him, and learning the values of humility and gentleness without hiding, without becoming shy. If He empowers us to say something on His behalf, to not take the credit, but also to not minimize our service. Because I see, like in this temple, so many of you do really amazing service. And I see also that not so many of you realize the service you're doing. Like you do it. And I see, because I notice myself, like I'm doing, and it's quite amazing what we're doing, but we don't realize it. We give the credit to Krishna, but we don't realize that actually we are not just acting, especially in a temple or when we chant our rounds and when we go in that space, please engage me in your service, then Krishna actually does engage us in His service. But sometimes we give it for granted. But if we take a moment to realize, we're actually serving Him, we are instrument of Him, it's very happy, it's a very happy meditation. And it also brings more appreciation for Krishna, because we realize He's so powerful and He engages me in His service, so that I can, like there was this pastime I like to say, I told it so many times, so maybe you already heard it, where a disciple of Srila Prabhupada went to him. Prabhupada just arrived with his car, and as soon as he came out, this devotee was like, Prabhupada, how can I serve you? And then Prabhupada looked at him for a moment and he said, go where I will not go. And this devotee was like, where will you not go? You're traveling all over the world, not just one time, like so many times. Where will you not go? And he's like, to the future. By the way, how you will treat others, that's how they will know how much Krishna loves them. So we are always instruments of God's love, always. So by the way how we treat each other, it's not that they realize, oh, such a good person I am, but they realize how much Krishna loves them. Because devotees, we are all praying, to the Lord to please engage us in His service and please help us to feel you. And what is a better way to feel Him through the mercy of the devotees? I think it's very beautiful that we can have these relationships, when we remind each other of how much Krishna loves us and how much He is present, and He is physical, but He's not. And He is in our heart, but at the same time He's not. And He is everywhere, at the same time He's not. So to just be aware that He can appear through anything and everywhere, at any time, if we are open for seeing Him. That doesn't mean, it can mean that He actually appears physically, but it appears in our heart, mostly. He appears in our heart through very interesting ways. I don't know, I'm sure it happened to all of you, that, you offered a prayer, and then all of a sudden, the prayer was fulfilled in a very amazing way. And I think people that, go out in book distribution, we can realize it, feel it even more, no? That when we really pray, Krishna, send me somebody that will take this knowledge it's fascinating. It becomes magical, but it doesn't have to be necessarily outside. It can be as magical also when we do any menial service. Any service we do to the Lord can be very exciting. If we offer a prayer, if we offer like an intention, please Krishna, reveal yourself to me in this service. Help me to understand you better. By being honest, personally, it's very important to me to have reciprocations from the Lord. But in order to receive that, I have to be very present. So realize also, the more conscious I am of myself, of my physical body, but also of the Lord in my heart, the more I'm able to recognize, okay, the Lord is also in their heart, and He can speak through them, and He can support me today to advance. And advancement in Krishna consciousness, sometimes, we see like, through service, and that can be, but advancement in Krishna consciousness, as at least how my guru explains it in his lecture, is through gratitude in the heart, experiencing gratitude in the heart, because that will give us true humility, and then Dankbarkeit. It's nice. And so this is my little realization from today, and I would like to hear from you all if from what we heard today from the book, or what I read from this verse from Bhagavad Gita, or anything I said today, if you have any comment or reflection, especially reflection, like what part of the lecture today kind of resonated with you, or it helped you to set an intention for the day. Okay, like today, like I want to cultivate gentleness and humility, or whatever that is, because I think the scriptures are very practical. So to keep them practical and try to apply the values, the teachings, it will keep inspire us, in our journey. So please, you're all in cause of speech. Please,
Hare
Subha.
Krishna. Yes, what was inspiring for me was the point that I sometimes don't perceive what great gift I have with devotional service. And according to that, maybe you could elaborate a little bit how you practice or be conscious of gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. It's very hard. At the same time, just to become conscious that we are not grateful is a great blessing. Because sometimes we spend, sometimes weeks go by and we are not aware. And then all of a sudden we're like, I'm so frustrated here, and I have to go away, or I have to, have a break, because we didn't see. So actually the mercy of Krishna is that He makes us aware of our shortcoming, but it's not a punishment. Sometimes we see from when I joined, I started to feel how dirty I am, how fallen I am. It's like, no, it's not a punishment. It's a blessing. You can see it. Once you can see something, you can fix it. No, it's like in any service. Once you can see, I think it was so beautiful, the cleaning, of the ceiling from Prabhu Thakur. It's like Krishna gave him some inspiration to see, but if you don't see that there is an opportunity, if you don't see the dirt, then you think it's just normal. We thought it was just the ceiling, the color of it. But actually, it's not. So then you're like, oh my God, it's all dirt. The whole temple room is dirty. So you can feel like a burden, but actually it's an opportunity. Now, it's so much more lighter, it's so much more clean. So just to notice, okay, I feel ungrateful, I feel frustrated, I feel, okay, now I see it. And then you become grateful because you see it. Oh, thank you, Krishna, for letting me see. Otherwise, I could never change. Otherwise, I could never work on it. And the best way to work on it is to actually then offer it to the Lord. To be like, I am, like this service. We can take example from this. Oh, it's dirty. oh Krishna, please help me to clean it. I offer it to you as a service to you. And then any cleansing we do, any purification, like I'm a lot into yoga and it excites me because it helps me to purify myself in a very fun way. Like it's fun for me. And then it helps me to also purify. And I do, please Krishna, engage me in this service because it makes me happy and I see how it purifies me and it makes me more functioning as a person, and then it's a service, like, and then you're not just doing service, like with everything you do, like you're not just cleaning things or, preparing things for the, it's actually your way to purify your heart and it's your service to the Lord. And then the way how you will see that the Lord appreciates it, you will feel happy. You will feel grateful. And it's so simple. It's so simple. So simple that we can miss it. So simple that we overcomplicate. And then even reading, sometimes I really don't feel like it. So I connect to myself and it's like, okay, what do I need right now? And sometimes instead of reading, I need to write. Like I need to first write my realization, and then actually have more space to then take in the Bhagavatam. Sometimes maybe I have to release, there is always something to do when we don't feel like doing something. So we shouldn't judge the activity itself, but to understand what do I actually need right now to feel closer to Krishna. Because that's the goal, not to do this, but the goal is how can this makes me feel closer to Krishna. And if we don't feel reciprocation in our heart, like this, right now, this doesn't make me feel close to Krishna, then humility is like, I'm sorry, Prabhu, I can't do this because it right now it just makes me feel anxious. So anxiety is actually a sign from the Lord that we need to step back a little bit and understand what we actually need in the present to move forward. And then that's my humble understanding, but I don't know if it makes sense, Prabhu. Yes. Thank you. Please.
I think it's a nice example. It goes on from the point. So say, for example, this example of reading, and you don't want to read. That's okay, and you do something else. And it makes total sense what you say. But say, and I've seen this over devotees, I don't want to chant, so I'm not going to chant today. And tomorrow, I want to chant, I'm going to chant tomorrow. But and sometimes I'm doing what I want to do. So how can we help this?
Yeah, that's a good point, because when we, in order to actually heal this block, we need to make sure, it's not that I'm reading Bhagavatam because it's like every day I read Bhagavatam. So every day I have 10 minutes with Bhagavatam. If I don't feel to do it right now, I still know that by the end of the day, it's going to happen. So first of all is to be conscious that no matter what, I'm committed to 16 rounds. No matter what, I'm committed to 10 rounds. So the question is, and then Krishna guides you to how to make it happen. But first you need to... sankalpa. Say, I will do it today. I don't feel like it right now, but I know that by the end of the day, Krishna will help me to do it in a joyous way, in an uplifting way, in a way that brings me closer to Him. But if we don't set the intention, it's then the mind wins. The mind is like, the mind will always talk us out of devotional service. It's like, it's too much, and you're going for too much. But there must be an intention in everything we do. Otherwise, we will be talked out of it, and then and then all of a sudden we feel lost completely. Yeah. Does it make sense? You have some.
Yeah, I found that the devotees then often didn't stay or moved away, and it was hard because I also come in from an esoteric direction, But for me, the best example is somehow like Mahatma Prabhu, who really combines affirmations and positive thinking with Prabhupada's teachings in a spiritual way. Yeah. So you're talking about you doing things because Krishna loves you. Love yourself because Krishna loves you. To do the things in spiritual life because you understand the meaning behind it, not because it's any sort of punishment or going on this life is just a pasya. It's like really you go beyond that. So it's like a balance up. That's the point. But it's hard. Sometimes we lose people with this, this sort of way in, and I was a little shocked at the beginning, because a lot of the outside world, I feel good, is just I. And that's the major difference between the feeling good in connection to Krishna, because Krishna is still number one, but it doesn't make you zero, right? Yeah. That's the point. It makes that, we are still in the line and still have
and service can change, through the years. Especially we see now when one becomes a mother or one, service can change. But the mood is the same. The mood is it's service. It's it needs to keep us joyful. Yeah, like you mentioned Mahatma Prabhu, just being positive about that. Even if externally things change time to time, sometimes we do need to change our service. We need to make external arrangement. But still, the heart needs to feel good. The heart needs to feel connected, and then is good. But because things will always change. This material world is. But then it's like, what do we want? And then to stay connected to that purpose. Beautiful. Thank you, Bhagavad Gita. Would you like to share, everybody else, just something from what you heard today that inspires you to practice, something you will practice today, or you don't have to have heard it today, just something you're practicing in your devotional life right now.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for very few points that were very much resonating with me. Especially like when you said, by the way, you treat others, that others feel how much Krishna loves you, yeah? And that was it Srila Prabhupada saying too? Yeah. And I was listening yesterday to this class from my spiritual master. He was saying how Srila Prabhupada, which is quite famous, he said once, I really love my disciples, they're really doing amazing, but I have only one complaint to them, that they don't read my books. So that's like he was saying how the spiritual, if you want to please your spiritual master, the best way is to make spiritual progress. And it felt so much connected to this phrase that Srila Prabhupada that you quote. And Srila Prabhupada, like he really wanted him to go where he didn't, where he was not, and he wanted to treat the other well, in order that by having this intention he could actually do spiritual progress, and that would please mostly Srila Prabhupada. So that I was reflecting on that.
Thank you for sharing. It's a beautiful attitude, not to see ourselves as instrument of Krishna's manifestation of love. So high and okay. Anybody else?
Sometimes in the temple we're pushed, it feels, to behave in ways which go against that very teaching. We've heard it sometimes, our spiritual masters, where we're told to be compassionate, but we're the very least of compassion. We're told to be tolerant, but we are the first to say, why, Prabhu, you did this? We are so many things. That's what is it? What's going on then here? What's going on? Because we are the quality sometimes that we can hold in our own sheltered world. Sometimes these sort of come out the opposite way in temples. I've heard it many times. Just wanted to know any reflections on this view, because you also lived in temples. So
what you're saying is when you, yes?
Hare Krishna. In Spain, a good friend told me a nice quote. A temple is not a museum of saints, it's a hospital for fallen souls.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
yeah, this was the answer for this. So,
Yes.
we are all trying our best.
Yeah.
And if I sometimes not compassionate to somebody, it's always my choice how I adapt to it, how I receive this information from the other person.
Yeah.
And there are many stories about it. Like I was reading one book, Saffron Path.
Mm-hmm.
It's one monk walking through Canada,
Mm-hmm.
8,000 kilometers, 8 months. And he sometimes had some aggressors as well. And
Mm-hmm.
in the end, when he was thinking while he was walking, why did they show me the middle finger or why they do this? He realized often they're like just hurt and don't understand, or maybe even anxious because his presence as monk makes him insecure.
Yeah.
So was it the answer?
Not enough. I will push out.
Okay.
No, it makes sense. Like for what I noticed also when I was in the temple, but even when I come here, like when there is somebody that doesn't have an attitude of maybe is agitated, whatever one person may go through is it's like you can feel compassion for that person because like you said, they're struggling, they're hurt, and sometimes love. No, I don't know if you ever experienced when a person, at least I experienced it with my husband, when he wants to love me and I am disconnected, I hate him. Like in that moment, it's like I am feeling like I'm going through whatever, and if he tries to love me, I feel like just get away from me. Like it's like there is so much resistance in my heart, and it's because I feel there is a block. It can be karma. It can be, we don't know. We can't tell. Maybe a person is angry because you can't know that. Krishna knows, but what we can know is pray for them. When we see somebody suffering or being rushed, they're going through purification. Also, like Shubha Gopal said, sometimes we just don't feel grateful, and we just if you don't feel grateful, then you feel all this lower emotion. Actually, gratitude is kind of the base from which we can actually experience Krishna. But if we feel anything less than gratitude, it's purification. It's some karma, I don't know, like pain in the heart, disconnection from Krishna. And then people need time, sometimes we're like, we just want to help, but sometimes just pray for them that they will actually find their way back to that joy and that inspiration in the heart. At least that's my experience. Like when I see like my husband or even friends sometimes, they try to help, but it's like, no, like right now I need to suffer. Like, there is that attachment to being victim. And maybe, we need to work out whatever we need to work out and ultimately let go of that attachment to suffer. And then there is so much love. Everybody wants to help us. I don't think anybody in this temple room wants to see us suffer, no? Or in the whole temple, right? Yeah, nobody wants to like, I want this person to suffer today, so I will be, nasty to them. No, nobody has that intention, So we can remember that nobody wants to make us suffer today. They're just going through. No? What do you think, Gopi Gita? Or do you think sometimes people you feel like they really want to hurt you? No?
I feel when you are working to uncover this dust from our heart, from our contaminated hearts, then a lot of impurities come up. And often by the nature of being with other devotees, the impurities rise. And in that moment there is a choice. Let's just dump it back on the other person, or let's work with it. Most of us make the wrong choice half the time, and sometimes we make the right choice, to go a little bit more internal. But I think it's over these 12, 13 years I've been here, trying to fight, my God, I thought I wasn't this person. I thought I didn't have any of these bad qualities. And now I see it all. What is it? It's just this. There is a reason why we're somehow still on this material world, this platform, in consciousness and everything. This will all come up. The choices that we are given is what we do with them. And in that moment, if we just embrace them, sometimes I like it better. In the last few years, I sort of laugh. Sometimes internally at least, not in front of someone, but internally to myself, at what you see others and yourself do sometimes. And I think, oh goodness, now I see that quality that I need to work on. And this is it's like being no longer out of your comfort zone. I think living in a temple is out of your comfort zone completely, but trying to give it over to Krishna. And in that mood, one can go further. Otherwise, it's easy to step away and to live in that comfortable world. That's what I think it is. But sometimes we just need to move past. Okay, I have this feeling. It's not down to X, Y, Z person. This. It's down to my own relationship with Krishna. Not a judgment. I'm a bad person. Nothing like this. Just working further, and then we can try to transcend. Is it easy? Not at all.
No.
But
it's beautiful because you come out of it.
You see it, you can then deal with it. We see it, we see the blocks, this life, last life. We work further on them.
Yes.
We go back to Krishna at one point.
Yes. It's ultimately, we want to also make it a little joyful because ultimately it's bringing us closer. So it's like, to have that attitude also a little bit like, it's painful right now, but I'm going, closer to Krishna. I know if I, clean, then it will feel lighter and, and then always something comes up. But to also celebrate a little bit, today I was able to offer something, with my love to Krishna. I was able to say a few prayers and to be grateful that to have had that time, that of the little things. The little things we offer to Krishna. Sometimes we think, at least myself, I always think about big things, like I want to do big things. But what makes me truly happy is the little things. Like what makes me really happy is the little moment through the day where I really feel like Krishna, appears either through Bhagavatam or through the chanting. The little things we do, they keep us going. And then, we have a battlefield. Anywhere we are is a battlefield. So it's the consciousness that will bring us to Krishna conscious.
And then sometimes we have to work a little harder to go beyond, to know, okay, with this heavy heart and these emotions, let's still try to cultivate this gratitude, this compassion, this taking care. It's said we cannot take care when we when we haven't healed ourselves. And I'd say it's not completely true.
No.
Even when we are with this heavy heart, we can still be a little bit for others, just to see, okay, I'm going through this. Maybe they also go through it. What often happens, I'm going through this, that person doesn't get it. Why are they this?
Yes.
So just something like this, a little bit more this. I still travel on this road.
Yeah.
Guru Maharaj Sajjananda Swami often said, don't take yourself too seriously. That helps. This is the lightness. Okay, I cannot laugh now, but I will laugh at this in a few months. I mean, just like, oh God, what was so serious? It was just some emotion or something that one had to work through,
There will always be something. Sometimes we think like, oh, maybe the more Krishna conscious I am, the less problem I will have one day. It's exactly the more Krishna conscious you become, the more problem you see. Because you are, more and more purified, and when you're purified, you just see more problems. But not in a bad way. It's like, when you have like sadhus and gurus, they have a clean window. So they see a lot of problems, isn't it? To whoever comes to them, like they see all these struggles, all their, like they see it very clearly. But that's not the point to see the struggle. The point is to see these are the devotee of Krishna, and they have a clear vision because they can see Krishna behind everything, and then it's joyful. Then as even though you see all the problem, but you see Krishna behind them, so then everything is okay. Then everything is like perfect. We are always protected, and no matter how hard is the problem, Krishna will always be behind them. Like, we have that story of Prabhupada with the bombs dropping. He saw Krishna in the bomb. Can you imagine? To see Krishna in the war, in the bombs, it's like, that's a very high level of consciousness. But that's the truth also. Krishna is behind everything. Not even a blade of grass moves without his will. Everything that happens, Krishna has said, yes, let it happen. So, it's a little bit of a game. It's not so serious. It's just more about seeing him behind. And then it's like we feel like all that responsibility away from our shoulder. It's like, Krishna is in control. I'm just an instrument, and he's blessing me to see all the problems, but he's also blessing me to see him behind everything. And then we can take shelter and feel relaxed a little bit, like in the heart, like trust, to be like everything will be. I just do what I can do, and Krishna will take care of everything else, because he does. He is. And he said one symptom when you trust Krishna is that you feel like a child. Like when you surrender, the symptom of that surrender, like that. The more pure it is that you feel completely as a child taking care. So you become playful, you become light, and you become like children, like enthusiastic about life, and everything just is like wow, because you are completely taken care of. And then it's so beautiful. I've been meditating about yesterday. Had a talk with a friend, and we were like, there is a practice that they say 1 hour a day, try to be like a child. Take 1 hour a day and try to experience the purity of being a child. And I was like, wow, I can't even do it for 5 minutes because I need to do this and control. But it's like, no, Krishna is in control. Can I be in that fully, open and loving space, even for a minute? It's very hard to that level of surrender, to just really be yourself and feel completely that Krishna is taking full care of you. Very not easy, but we're getting there. Anybody else would like to share? I think it's prasadam time, late. Okay. Granth Raj, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.